An economy is based on trust. Like
Mhm.
the most important commodity of any social system, any economic system, is trust. The point of Bitcoin as a trustless totem is something to fall back on as a foundation. But you cannot have an economy without trust. You cannot. Like it is the commodity of all commodities. That's why the money is the most trusted good in the society. That's what it is. It ends up being the reflection of society's value. Is that this is my receipt for what I am owed by the world. And I am trusting that that receipt can be redeemed by the people that I interact with. Which means that the point is not for everything to be trustless. The point is to be able to build up trust with a foundation that can't be cheated. Like, when you and I try to have some sort of a great example is how everybody hates corporations. And everybody thinks that they're being cheated because prices are going up, and they're mad at the grocery store. They're mad at the cashier for, not their service isn't good enough because everything got more expensive and everything got shittier. And like it's just like this constant, like we're in conflict with everyone. And people literally use Apple and Google and Amazon and then literally go out on the internet and talk about how much they hate them. Like, that they're forced into this situation where I don't even trust this company. I think they are screwing me over. I think they are spying on me, but I don't have a choice. So they feel literally enslaved. Like that's why a whole bunch of people who think this is capitalism, which it's not free markets at all, but think that this is some form of subjugation or exploitation, is because they don't trust. They literally, it is all broken down. Well, why are they having to raise prices? It's because the money is breaking apart the communication between those two entities, between the customer and the business. Like an analogy I've used before is, like, let's say there's two winemakers and somebody makes extremely high quality wine. They have an extremely strict and like process that they never compromise on. They just make the highest possible quality and they just make good wine. Then they government prints $2 trillion. Now you have another company that makes wine, and they just kind of do the best that they can do to get the price point that they want. Government prints $2 trillion. The person who has good wine and actually has integrity and holds honestly to the product that they make has to raise their prices by like 10% to actually keep it.
Because all their inputs just went up.
Because all their inputs went up. Yeah. The one that has no integrity and is perfectly willing to sell the exact same wine, but literally just pouring 10% of water into it and mixing it up and diluting it, has the same price. The consumer goes in and they say, this guy's screwing me. This costs 10% more. Because that's the first way it goes down the ladder. It's when the products go up in price that the consumers then experience it, and then they demand higher wages. Wages are always the last thing that move. So the consumer gets poorer before anything adjusts, which means that they hate the company that has integrity, and they rush to the company that screwed them, that gave them diluted wine, or gave them literally, like they put water and food coloring and, fake flavoring from a Monsanto package of chemicals.
Yeah.
And this gets, every single time it happens, it's worse and worse and worse until literally the one that actually has integrity and is giving a good product is being punished over and over again and encouraged to just lie like the other guy.
Right.
Just cheat. Everybody's doing it. It doesn't matter. And then that goes down the line. And then the people who were stuck in their jobs because their savings got devalued, and then they had to go into debt because the house that they wanted is now 50% more. So now they're in debt, which means they can't lose their job, and they get asked to do something unethical by their boss, and now they don't have a choice. Now they don't have 2 months worth of savings to go find a different job. They can't say F you. They have to compromise on their integrity, and they hate themselves just a little bit more because they didn't want to do it. And it just goes down the line over and over. A white lie, a compromise of integrity, a little bit of chipping away at your soul. And over again, the trust breaks down. The trust in yourself, the trust in the person that you work for, the trust in the companies that you buy stuff from. And it is a feedback loop, decade after decade after decade. And then suddenly you have generations that grow up thinking that if it benefits you, it doesn't really matter if it's not true. You know? It doesn't really matter if they didn't really say that, because I don't like them and they wouldn't be good for me. And, you know, this is what everybody else is saying. We should just go with the crowd. And you entrench this into the mindset of the entire population, into the entire society. And it doesn't correct. It is literally at the foundation. It is at the money that this poisonous feedback loop starts. And it is a full and uncompromising breakdown of trust in every single layer of society. And when you have good money, when you have that, start to renew the relationships where the person who has the good product can actually lower their price, because the value of the money goes up when everybody else is working together. You're no longer at odds with who you're doing business with. They're not your enemy anymore. And there's no, like, in the context between like you and me, if you're providing me with a service, think about the fact that someone external to our relationship broke our trust down, because you're raising the price of your wine by 10% every month or every year or whatever. And I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
We can't build trust because we don't have a trustless foundation. Someone external to the relationship destroyed our relationship. When you have trustless money, when you have money that is independent and verifiable, it allows us to keep our trust strong and actually have it be based on the things that you do and the things that I do and nothing else. There is no middleman or distant counterparty that can say, distrust each other because I'm going to steal a little bit from both of you secretly and you're not going to know who it's coming from.
It's the ultimate divide and conquer.
Yeah.
That was so well said. There's so many Bitcoin memes and everything you just said. I mean, oh my God. You just really succinctly summed it up. That was really great. So for folks that have been with us for an hour and a half now, listening to all this, let's maybe give them what they've been waiting for. How does Bitcoin help fix this? How do we take what people are maybe perceiving as just money today and start to think of it as a way to solve for identity and trust in an internet economy?
I would say just imagine what it would be like if everything just always got more affordable. And specifically, things got more affordable because other people made stuff better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you can't even buy a car today and expect it to make it past 100,000 miles.
Yeah.
Right. You're throwing away your lawnmower every 2 years. You're whatever it might be. Right. You're buying some plastic widget that breaks a week after you buy it.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, I was using tools that my grandfather had from, the 30s. I mean, the stuff lasted forever. I still have some of that stuff in my garage. I mean, it just lasts forever. That's all gone because of everything you just described.
Yeah.
But we can get back there.
Think about how crazy it is that society is at odds. When you print new money and you flood it into the economy, inevitably, prices only rise because people bid them up, which means that the new money has to come first. Somebody gets the money before the prices reflect it. Like, it's just a reaction. The price is a reaction, which means that somebody is going to get stuff out of society. They're going to pull resources out. They're going to own more houses. They're going to own more stocks. They're going to purchase your retirement and you're going to rent it from them before someone else does. And then it's going to, quote unquote, trickle down to the rest of society. And when it gets to the bottom, all of the prices will have gone up. Everything will have gotten less affordable. And then they will just fight, scream, and wail to get a raise that only gets them back to zero. And when you're in that situation, it permanently induces a scarcity mindset in the economy. It means that everyone is racing to get resources as fast as they can, like hard resources, real things, to own something as fast as they can before it becomes less affordable. This is why we bought a house.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have bought a house. If houses were getting cheaper over time, I wouldn't have done that in 2017. The only reason I did it in 2017 is because, I mean, granted, I understood where we were headed. And like, so I was literally looking at like how much, I was trying to do the math. I'm like, how much are we going to have to print to get through this period? You know, and I was like, holy crap, like this house is going to be twice this much. It's going to be $300,000 probably in a decade, way quicker than a decade. It got there. And which meant that I absolutely, as fast as I can, I should go into debt, the debt that I can't possibly afford. Like I couldn't pay for something $150,000. I should go into debt. I should get as low interest rate as possible so that I don't actually have to return this value to society. And then it will just devalue over time. It becomes a race to own stuff as fast as possible because the stuff is going to go up in price and the money is going to get devalued, which means that I am fighting with the other people to get stuff, to get value that I know I'm never going to have to return because the debt is explicitly being devalued, meaning I am saying I'm going to pay you back $150,000 in value and I'm not going to have to pay back actually $150,000, not in 2017 dollars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get to pay it back in 2028 dollars, which is going to be nothing. The house alone will be worth 600 grand. Literally, this house in 4 years will be worth 600 grand. And it's a crap. It's not a fancy house. It's not. It's just a normal house in my area. And so because of that, everyone is at odds. Everyone is fighting to get things as fast as they can before it's more expensive. In a society where money is actually sound, literally the complete opposite relationship occurs, is that everything just gets gradually more affordable over time. Why? Because nobody's working to make stuff worse, except the government, but different story. But you don't go to work to get crappier. When you practice something for 10 days, you're better at it than when you did not practice, which means that it takes less energy and less planning and less work to get the same result. That's why you build up skills. That's why you have a resume, is to prove that you did this, to show that you're more efficient. That's why people change systems. That's why people adopt technology. That is why we get out of bed and do anything at all. Nobody goes to work for 8 hours and then likes to come home at a worse place than when they started. That will piss off anybody, literally anyone. The whole point is progress, which means that if we had sound money, if the money wasn't being printed, everything would get more affordable by default. And you personally wouldn't even have to do anything because you wouldn't be fighting everyone else in society. The whole point of society is to make everything affordable and better for everyone else. It's the only reason we do anything.
Right.
Which means that
go ahead, sorry.
It's basically just imagine a world where life gets better by default and you get the benefit. You're working together with your neighbor. You're working together with the person who owns your grocery store. Like, they are trying to make things better for you. They're trying to make things better for themselves. And if they make things better for themselves, they get better for you too. We have the opposite right now. If they make things better and they try to own things as fast as they can with debt, it's directly at the expense of you being able to afford it. Because you were going to buy the house at 150, they bid it up to 180, and now you can't buy it. Mm-hmm. It's the difference between a society at odds and a society working together, and it's all in the money.
So you've heard Bitcoin is the new gold rush by now. As world leaders on all sides have endorsed it as the future of money, and now you're looking to get started, we'll show you how. It's actually easier than you think. First, go to your nearest ByteFederal ATM and turn your cash to coin. ByteFederal has over 1,200 locations around the country with the highest daily limits. Go to our website, ByteFederal.com, to find the nearest ATM to you. Log in to any wallet, then create an account, deposit your US cash, and instantly convert it to Bitcoin. That's it. We are the only US manufacturer and operator in the Bitcoin ATM industry, and our US-based live customer service is second to none. Go on, give it a whirl, and don't get left behind. Click the link below.